Yoruba land alone. This is across the whole of Africa.
Yeah.
They've damaged our trust structure. So we need to build that up and begin to just meet up. So once we go live, it's not gonna be difficult. It's just gonna be you and me talking first. Others will join in as and when they can, and when they see the link, maybe it will prompt them to want to
They
be
will
part of
join
it.
in.
So just let me just start up the one on. I'm going to start it up on also on TikTok as well, because they will be seeing me. They won't see everybody else, but if they want to see the full picture and get immersed in it, they'll have to join us on the Zoom link, which means they have to give their details and then we can meet up. So just give me one sec. Let me get this set up on TikTok. And I appreciate you doing, taking the time to do this, my brother. Because we're trying to build things. I know it's not easy, but let me quickly try and just do this if you don't mind. Thank you. Select.
Very much okay, sir.
Good. I mean, this project now is for us to build our coming generation. We cannot leave these guys. They everything they did has been proven to be a lie. It's been proven to be a big lie, and it is not one they can get away from anymore. So let me.
No, we don't have to let them get away with it no more.
No. We just have to just stand up and say, enough, and you have to now take a back seat and let us run what we were supposed to run. You can't run it. You don't know how to run it. We've let you run it, and we know how we've seen how far you've gone with it. It's not
Even
working.
our puppet leaders, we have to
Yes, of
still let them know. We have to
yes.
still let them know if
Oh
they want to
yes,
be puppets, they can if they want to, but they will have to leave.
they
They will
will.
have to leave for us to check in someone
Yes,
else to be a leader.
absolutely,
We're
absolutely.
tired of we're tired of having rulers that doesn't have a direction. We need a
We
leader
need, yeah.
who will set a pace for us and then we'll follow suit.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
We have
Absolutely.
too much to achieve. We have
Mm.
too much to gain from. I keep saying it. There was a word I read about what's his name again? The president of Russia. He
Yeah.
said something. He said if only Africa knows that they are the one feeding the world as it
Yes.
stands,
Yes.
then they will
Fact.
know what they have and they will know how to
Fact.
handle it. Africans are the ones feeding the whole of the West.
Yeah. Yeah.
We give them everything they have. They
Everything.
need us more than we need them.
Yeah.
But they made us feel as if
We are
we are the one
incapable.
coming to them for
Yeah.
help. You can
And
imagine them
and
bringing the
we
USA,
believed that lie for so long, so long. You know.
bringing in, bringing in the USA and trying to make
Yeah.
us feel
Look,
like
you
we
see,
need help.
they're actually killing us with the USC. Do you know that? It's full of
Yeah,
all this GM, which is going to make people infertile. And when I talk to people at
yeah.
home, they don't understand. Some get it, but some don't. And you're right. Those are the kind of things that I'm glad that you're aware of it. I'm glad that you
Bro-
mentioned that.
They brought them in and make us feel like we need help, and giving to us on a broad daylight,
Yeah.
and then switching off the
Mm-hmm.
light and then taking from us
Yes.
through the dark. Because I keep saying this thing. I said it won't take Nigeria anything to have a stable electricity.
No.
I mean the whole of Nigeria. It won't take them anything to have a stable electricity, as in 24 hours electricity. And not that our leaders don't know this, they know. But the puppet controllers, that the colonizers has asked them not to dare it. The colonizers have told them if you do this for these people, they won't need you anymore. Because the government want us to need them. They want us to see them as the god of Africa. If they give us just electricity, I'm saying it, if they give us just electricity constantly, we won't need them anymore.
Sorry. Can you hear me? Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, I
I'm here
was
with you.
okay. I'm
I know
just
you
trying
were
to.
trying to fix something.
Yes, I was. You could see me trying to. There is a speaker that are connected, and it should be on, and it is on. But oh, I see. Okay, let me just check. Just want to make sure the mic is micing up the right way. Sorry. Okay. So 1, 2. Say something for a second.
Yeah, can you hear me? Testing the mic. 1, 2, 3. Is it clear? Now I can hear you.
Okay.
I,
Can you hear me now?
I can I can
Yes.
hear you now. I can hear you
Okay.
now.
Good. Okay, that's better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go live. Now you can either decide to what's the word? It'll be good if you can show yourself on camera for at least for a bit if you can. But if it's gonna use too much data, do let me know. Does it use
No,
more
it's
data?
okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. At least I have
Okay.
a little bit of data right now.
Okay. So I'm gonna go live and I will just basically introduce us. Then we can go with that and then we take it from there. And I want to thank you for joining me on the broadcast like this. This is our second broadcast on Africazoom. So we're gonna go. Oh, I've already pressed it. There you go. I didn't realize I pressed it on. So those of you watching, that's now you see what we do back end when we're trying to fix things. We're all doing it. It's all for Africa, for our people, the coming generation, of course. So welcome on board. You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. We'd like you to do something for us, which is to share the broadcast as you get it. This is the second Zoom meeting, Africa Zoom meeting, with the Africa Zoom 54. And the object is simple. We just want us to get to know each other. It's not very difficult. All the barriers that have been put before us, we are now saying no, those barriers must disappear. So please do join us and share the broadcast. Okay, let me see what's going on here. What's going on here? Yeah, I think somebody's actually following it. I hope it's working. I think so. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go now. Let's go and do that live. I just wanted to just check it. Okay. Okay, so with me I have Street Prof. Street Prof is here with me, and it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you, my brother.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we are gonna go also live on TikTok. So good afternoon to you on TikTok. You're listening to Citizen AY. Oops, sorry, I forgot to switch the thing on, the mic on that one. So can you see me all right? Street Prof, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, and we
Clear.
can hear you
And
as
I
well.
can hear you loud too.
Brilliant. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing the joint broadcast on TikTok and on YouTube. It's a second meeting for the Africa Zoom 54. It's very, very simple. We want Africans from 54 African countries to meet up and have discussions. We no longer want to be dictated to by those who colonized Africa. We will take it from here. All of us will work together as a community because Africa is one continent, one community, one people. And we are trying to
Yeah.
fix the things that they've actually hidden from us and prevented us from fixing. We have the time, we have the power, we have the drive, we have the resources, we have the people, we have the brains. Let us begin. That's what we need to do. So, with that said, let me introduce Street Prof. He's been part of the discussions on TikTok and is on the Zoom. If you do want to join us on the Zoom, drop your number, your name, your number, and your nation that you're calling from, and we'll send you the Zoom link as you are live. We will send you that Zoom link. We'll put your phone, add your phone number to it, and you can join us because we are live on YouTube also. So, with that said, Street Prof. Now, what has made you want to be to be so active about African unity and the awareness? What has driven you? Because I see you're quite young, and there's a passion that I can see in you.
Yeah.
Would you mind telling us about yourself a little bit from that point of view? Thank you.
Okay, my name is actually Isaiah, and
Isaiah.
I'm based in Enugu.
Isaiah 8.
Isaiah, yeah,
Oh,
the
okay, brilliant. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm based in Enugu, the southeast part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And growing up, I saw the challenges my country has faced,
Yeah.
and from time immemorial, I
Mhm.
have always joined the part that want to blame the government for
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
Even though we as an individual, we have tried our best to
Mhm.
do our part,
Mhm.
you know, to make the country move forward, we
Yeah.
find out that it's not going any further.
Yeah. Indeed.
And the little amenities that we deserve as a people, we are not getting it from the
Mhm.
country. So many things that made our people go to church to pray to God and ask for this and that and this. These are simple amenities that people get outside the country. These are things that people get in the West
Yes.
for
Indeed.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the things we pray to
Mhm.
God for are actually things that other governments do for their people.
Thank you. You see, that
That
is a
is it.
very important point you made, and that is what people at home don't often get. You're right. Please tell people more about that. I quite like that. I know exactly what you mean, but I'll let you go ahead. Don't let me stop your flow. Go ahead.
So we actually pray for those. You can see a mother praying for a traveling child, safe
Mm-hmm.
journey, you
Mm-hmm.
go and come back
Mm-hmm.
and all that. When you're not so she's praying because she's scared of the road. The
Mm-hmm.
roads are not okay. you know somebody just wake up and decide to go get a driver's license. You don't need to go through a normal process. You
Yeah.
just get a driver's license, and boom, that's all. You just pay the money you have to pay, and include some
Yeah.
bribes and all that, and
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
driver's license is yours.
Yeah.
And this
Oh, network. Go ahead.
disabled person,
Yeah.
a physically disabled person, will have a driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine. So many things that we are supposed to enjoy as a people.
Network issues, but he'll be back with us. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you.
So it
Oh, network. We're having network issues, but he will be back. Just bear with us.
and
Yeah, go ahead. Carry on.
and I have always thought about these things. I've always looked deep into the resources what we have.
Mm-hmm.
I keep telling people
Yeah.
Ajaokuta is one place that I've always used as a point.
Yes.
Ajaokuta is not working. It's because of so many reasons, and not just normal reasons. These
No.
reasons are coming from above. They are
Absolutely.
coming from the West.
Mm-hmm.
They are the ones behind this.
Mm-hmm.
You get it?
Yes.
From a very young age, I got to understand that shipments coming from most countries in the West
Yeah.
should get to the Delta State seaport, Warri,
Mm-hmm.
before getting to Lagos, meaning Warri is closer. But yet, Warri seaport has been damaged a long time ago, and now you can't even see anything there. They've sold all the lands and everything, and then
Yeah.
right now it's just all a different ball game entirely.
Mm-hmm.
The only seaport that I can, certify working perfectly in Nigeria as a whole is that of Lagos.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When Lagos is not the only place that has a sea channel
No.
across the state, the whole states in Nigeria. So these things are not working,
No. No.
and it's giving me concern. We are complaining about jobs after school.
Yeah. Yeah.
People go to school, graduate, and then come back home to start learning handiworks and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really alarming where you can build up projects that will give jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I was opportunity to stay at Bonny for a very long time,
Yeah.
and Light was not an issue because for over 3 months, the first time I got there, I stayed for about 3 months before I witnessed blackout, which is, and that was not even up to an hour. The blackout was not up to an hour, and I was like, so what is powering this whole vicinity? And I got to understand that it was a gas supply.
Yes.
And if Nigeria should invest in that, then giving a stable electricity wouldn't have been a problem. So I got to understand that this is something that I now know they can do.
Yes.
But they are not doing it for many reasons.
And that is the same across the whole of Africa, you know. That is the same across the whole of Africa. In many instances, they are deliberately keeping the people in darkness. I mean, in Liberia, for example, I found, no, not Liberia, Sierra Leone. They got a company in the UK that took the contract for power, and they took the power and they keep the people in the dark. The Sierra Leonean first lady said that. Bio, something, I remember her name. So she mentioned that. So you are very, very correct in what you're saying, that it is something we can do. But go ahead. Before you go ahead, just hold that thought for a second. Let me just quickly introduce 246 Historian. Welcome on board, and thanks for joining us. Would you like to say a few words, and if you wouldn't mind coming on camera, if it's okay, just to chat and tell us your reason why you're so keen. Thank you so much. Hi. Good to see you. Hi.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
This is the only place I would feel comfortable showing my face. I
Oh, fantastic! It's lovely to have you here.
My face on TikTok. Just so you wouldn't be confused, the picture on TikTok is my father.
That's fine.
So I give honor to him.
Yes.
As he's an ancestor now.
Oh. Well, we greet him, and we say we recognize and we say Ashe to him. Thank you very much. He's one of our ancestors. He's shining the light, and he has a role. Believe it or not, he has a role to play in us gathering as we're gathering, all of us.
Yes.
So we say Ashe to him as well, and we greet him.
Ashe. Now I'm the 246 historian, and I have that name because I am an actual history student at the University of the West Indies here in Barbados.
Wow.
And I have ambition to be a historian with a difference. I'm not just going to tell the story of the past, but I also want to shape the future.
Yes.
And your video moved me. One of the videos that you had moved me because there is a symbol that I saw in one of your videos. And the one with the artifacts in the Vatican. I've been drawing that symbol without knowing. I've been drawn to that symbol.
Wow.
Do you believe in numerology? Not the way that they are throwing it around and making it believe, this Hollywood version of numerology.
No. Yeah, there's deeper stuff, and I am drawn to spiritual stuff. So that is me in essence. So yeah,
good.
I am.
I don't have the book that I normally write in, but every single day, this is my life. Whoa. Numbers come to me like that. So I write them down, sharing this with you because I believe you will understand. Every day, I will be minding my business. If I look at the clock or I look at a document, I always see synchronicity of numbers. Why am I explaining this? Because one day I sat and I drew a symbol based on the synchronicity of those numbers. And I understood what that symbol meant when I drew it. Whoa. I don't have the book here.
No.
That I drew it in, but I can redraw it because, and I saw that symbol
on
in,
that broadcast.
you saw it. I, so I believe I have a connectivity to it, because why else would I draw it? I drew it from memory,
And then when
from
you saw it,
this urging. When I saw your video, I sent you a message. I was crying. I'm like, I know that symbol. I've seen that symbol. I drew it just based on the synchronicity of
yeah,
numbers.
fantastic.
But in listening to the synchronicity of numbers, I am understanding that it is not just numbers.
No, no, it isn't.
As I study history, I'm seeing that synchronicity. And I'm seeing how they have used numbers against us.
Whilst you're saying that, something just came to mind. The numbers really, if we know it, it really only comes to 9. That's 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 I'm
I don't have my book here. There is a book that I never walk, I never do without. But you know what? You believe me, so I don't have to
that's
say.
it. I was just saying that so you know that I see where you're headed.
On my
That's it.
page, I have it. That numbers only go from 1 to 9, and 0 is the holding pattern. Africa, I'll tell you what you're doing. I don't join everybody's stuff, but because of that symbol, I understood that the synchronicity of time had come, and therefore we are now connected. What you're doing also needs to have the women involved.
Absolutely. In fact, look, we're nothing without you guys. Ashe.
But every African who joins you, I'll say this. Hello, brother. How are you?
He's talking to you, Steve Puff.
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm hearing how I'm just. Do you know why I'm paused for a second?
Yes.
Because I just feel like someone is trying to tell me something that I have not been taking note of.
Wow.
She just told me about numbers.
Wow.
And for real, I can tell you, even yesterday there was a number I saw on my phone. I was talking to someone on the phone, and the numbers was counting, and the date on my phone was there as well. And there was another number on my WhatsApp as well. Only for me to gaze at it, the three numbers were just the same. The minute of my call that was counting, and the time,
What
and
is
the
going
number
on
on
here?
my WhatsApp, they were all saying no. You see why I was puzzled? Like when I was listening to her, I was about telling her that after this broadcast, she's going to explain to me more why she's writing those numbers, so I can know the importance of getting it down, because this is not the first time.
Nothing is a
This is
coincidence.
not the
Guys, you're watching
first
this live. You
time.
want to be
There
part
are
of
only
this?
3 of us.
Drop your number. We'll put you in the Zoom link. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not on YouTube. Oh my god. I don't like men showing my face.
No. Oh, listen. Please, you can come off if you want. I mean, the reason I'm doing that is because for the first broadcast, we're not going to go too deep. Please don't.
Don't worry. Okay.
Yeah.
So let
Yeah.
me explain this. Okay, I'm going to come off video only because I am. Someone is going to come to me,
And
I
that's
don't want
fine.
to show
Please,
them there.
of course, always. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
the synchronicity of numbers is this, and I speak protection over me as I speak this, because before I speak, I want our brothers and sisters to understand something. Marcus Garvey was betrayed by his own. Malcolm X was betrayed by his own. Martin Luther King was betrayed by his own. It's time for us to stop. When I read history books, and I was reading one just last week,
Yeah.
in my country, they started bringing all from Guinea, from the Gold Coast, from Capture, and it is recorded in a history book I read.
Yeah.
The reason why they did this is because they don't understand each other, therefore they will cooperate and be docile. We are now conscious of each other and we speak one language. Therefore, unification is now. Okay? Okay?
Yeah.
So the Tower of Babel is not what we say it is because we speak one language. Now, let us stop betraying each other for a few silver.
Yes, louder, please. Louder on that. Yes. No more betrayal.
Stop betraying each other for a few
For a
silver
few
coins.
coins.
Now, let me speak about numbers to my brother here. Every time you go into history, you are going to see the synchronicity of numbers. How? Barbados, I will only use my country because I don't know the history of everybody else. So I want you to go into your own country's history and look for the synchronicity of numbers. A lot of stuff has been done under the thousands. 1,000 to 1999. Okay? That 1,000 to 1999, a lot of stuff was done. Okay? The Portuguese came out in the 1400s. But then when you start to look at when things happen, you see a pattern of numbers. For instance, Guinness, everybody here knows Guinness.
Yeah.
Guinness was established in 1759.
1759, yeah.
Those are all odd numbers, 7, 5, and 9. Okay? Good. Certain codes happened in 1661. Okay? Certain events happened in things like 1612, or when you look at the numbers, they might look like regular years until you add those numbers.
Yeah.
And you start to see patterns emerging. I'm not saying that they were also brilliant.
No.
But I am saying that they used numbers against us. And how do I know this? The South Sea Company,
Yeah. Wow.
Had a contract called the Asiento de Negros.
Wow.
This contract was given to the Spanish by the British government to look for 4,800 enslaved per year for 30 years. They were given the mandate to look for 4,800 slaves for 30 years. That made me pay attention. 4,800 by 30 comes to what figure?
4,800 by 30, you said?
Yeah.
I'm not very good at the math. I have to write it down. So hang on.
Somebody tell me.
Well, okay, hold on. 1 second. Let me just get my calculus up. I'll do it. By 1 second.
30.
Yeah, okay.
That's 144,000.
Why would they be looking for 144,000 people? Why would they be given the mandate to look for 4,800 slaves per year for 30 years?
What?
Now that was just the British. Now I want Africa to understand, to comprehend that the Caribbean, what we call the Caribbean, which was known as the West Indies because Columbus believed he had landed in the West, in the East. So he thought that this was the Indies because he found people who looked Indian. Okay? After he came, contracts and treaties were written up that enslaved the people of this region. Contracts and treaties were also written up to make the Negro of Africa a slave. And the people that were brought out were agriculturalists, the Igbo people, there were blacksmiths, there were people who understood how to grow sugar, since it started in the Madeira Islands. After sugar was brought out of India, they brought out carpenters, they brought out skills people. Many of you know this, some of you don't.
Wow. Wow.
If there is a book by the giant Walter Rodney called How Europe Underdeveloped.
I've got it here. I've got it here. Let me show you. Got it
Read
here.
that book with the comprehension that the time is now. Thank you. How Europe underdeveloped Africa. It is not the knowledge of the past to stay in anger.
No.
What is happening now, and my brother, I'm joining you because I comprehend, and I comprehended a few weeks ago. Knowledge of the past is to shape the future. If we stay in anger, we will remain angry and nothing will be done. We are going to be, because, let me repeat that, sorry brother, I understood your, if we stay in anger, nothing will be done.
Indeed.
Think of an atrocity and it has been done. Therefore, the now is to prepare for tomorrow. The Chinese are preparing. And let me tell you how. There are many videos of their children in kindergarten learning skills. Why?
Yeah.
Because when they flood the world with AI, which will be built on the technology of Africa, many people will become dependent on the basic necessities of life.
Of life.
The idea
That's
is
so
to
true.
make Africa the engine. Africa will remain the engine as it has been for millennials. And China will be supplying the products. The Chinese understand that there are manufacturers. That's where they got their name. Africa being the engine should now drive its own train.
Absolutely.
That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Just paying attention to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We will talk afterwards.
Yes, we will do. We will do. Thank you so much for joining.
Afterwards, I'll follow you up.
Yes,
So I can
yes.
ask you some questions. And
Before you
give me
go, what I wanted to do today was just for us all to meet up and not go necessarily too deep, just to start getting used to seeing each other and looking at the goal we're trying to establish here, which is, freeing Africa and all Africans, not only in Africa, but the entire continent, and to give us confidence and trust, to build trust in our communities. And we do that by just talking. So, my brother and myself were from Nigeria, you're from Barbados, and we just begin to understand how we work, devoid of anything from those who colonized and all of that stuff. We are now interacting independently. And then we build on that as things go on. There's a lot of things that we need to do. And I mean, the numbers thing, we're going to have to talk, my sister, obviously. We need to talk about that in great depth. And I'm grateful for you coming on. I'm sorry if I didn't make it clear that we were going to be on YouTube as well. I think I did, but I'm making it clear. And we will not always be doing everything live. But to get people to know how this feels, I needed to show what we were doing so that they can understand that we are just trying to interact as people, as anything else, as anybody else would. That way we can begin to feel comfortable. So, but thank you so much for your brief, your very interesting, presentation on numerology, and it opened my eyes, and I confirmed a lot of things. But my brother Street Prof, go ahead. Let me hear from you.
And I must say this about the numbers. The numbers was why Machiavelli could give a prophecy about the 9/11, and it happened just exactly as he prophesied. Now I'm beginning to try to get back to some certain things that have occurred. Ma'am, sure, I'm going to be a form of disturbance to you because I was always right.
You've got a new student now.
because you just gave me an insight to something that I've been seeing for a very long time, and I don't see it as anything. I just see it as numbers. So,
but it is
I would think of a certain number. A certain number can just reflect on my mind, and I will just laugh about it. I don't really know why I felt that number, but it won't take up to an hour. I'll see it somewhere. Either it's written somewhere, or I'll see it in my time.
Wow.
The time in my phone, or I will just see that. I will just come across that particular number. So now you're saying
you and I
this.
are the same now. You and I are the same now, my brother. Because I showed you that every time I see a synchronicity in number, I would write it because I felt something is happening. What is this? And while I would research numerology and things like that, I recognize that what I am seeing has nothing to do with what is put on the internet as numerology. But this is deeper. This has ties back to the motherland. And so I treated it with all seriousness.
Wow.
Until one day I sat and I drew the symbol, and then my brother here, I saw it. You understand? So what I would say to you, brother, is treat numbers with the respect that they are coming to you with. Because it is not a game of flashing what is your life number and your life path. It's a seriousness. And that seriousness was understood when the two African descent princesses in America unraveled one of Pythagoras' theories that remained unsolved for 2,000 years.
Wow.
Because he did not get it right. Okay.
Fantastic.
Wow.
You can research that story.
Yes, I've read about it. As you said it, I recall it happening, and they actually were. Was it two sisters? Was it correct?
I don't know if they're sisters, but I do know there are.
Yes.
Two. I believe they're sisters.
Yes, I recall that story, and they were students. Yes, in the U.S. I remember that story. I'll go and dig it up. Actually, I'll dig it up. And
so, how much more numbers are incorrect out there that we as Africans understand?
Let me even confirm a little bit more. I've been doing some research. Something came to me and about numbers. Now, I've always wondered why is it that we have 7 days a week? Nobody, I couldn't, it's just how it is. Well, recently, I stumbled on the fact that in Yoruba language, in Yoruba culture, we had our own calendar. And it was 4 days a week.
It was 4 days, yeah, it's 4 days.
And then it is 7.
Africa in general.
Exactly. And it's 7 weeks
Africa in general.
Exactly, the whole of Africa.
Yeah.
But we
4
have
days.
exactly
4
4
days.
days. And then he had
Yeah.
7 weeks in a month.
In a month.
And
Yeah.
then he had 13 months in a year.
13 months
In a year.
Yeah.
So all of these numbers, like you're saying, 246, my sister, is those things are meant to throw us off. It is literally. So you are very, very correct about numbers. I'm just trying to buttress the point you just made, my sister. The numbers, if we're not doing it in the right way, it's always throwing us off. And that is so important. And in fact, as you say that now, it makes a lot of sense why I kept, because I've been going back to that calendar and I follow it. In fact, I'm writing to you, I write every single day of the week in my ancestral ways. I write that now.
Yeah.
When I'm going to do my show, I write it in the same days so that I will connect myself back to my ancestors. So 246, my sister, this is amazing. We didn't. I wasn't even looking at numbers in that way, but as you're saying it, it's like you just opened the door, and a lot of those things that I packed to one side in my mind, it's like you just made me look at it in a completely different point of view, like my brother Street Prof just said. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, go ahead.
Now I see why she added 246.
That's correct.
To her name. It's not trying to, my brain is not trying to uncover the meaning.
That's it.
Because
That's
she
it.
did not put that by mistake.
By mistake. No.
Wow.
Let me tell you, it's the area code of my country.
Wow.
But I also understood it as a sequence of numbers because I could have said the Barbados historian, but I felt 246 meant something.
Yes.
Even in my country, we affectionately call ourselves the 246.
Wow.
We do. We call ourselves by those sequences. And when I started to see numbers, I recognized that numbers is the love of Africa.
Yeah.
That numbers belong to Africa. And that we have forgotten.
Yeah.
We have forgotten that the freeman, the Roman freeman, I think his name was Servetus Rugus. He is the developer of the letter G. And he did it because it's the seventh number of the alphabet.
Yeah.
The synchronicity of numbers. There are many who want to start fighting. They want to, but if we would go down the path of remembering who we were and seeing who we are, we will set a path for those who are coming.
Yes.
Never assume that the work that you are now doing is just for yourself.
No.
You are preparing a path for those who are coming.
Wise words. True words.
Wow.
True words. Let me just sit on that for a minute. You're preparing for a path for those who are coming behind. Street Prof.
I'm just speechless right now. 246, I just appreciate you being here. I swear down, hearing from you has really given me another form of thought. It has given my mindset a U-turn towards a particular direction because I have never been seeing those things the way I see it right now. And I know I'm going to do a deep study on that so I can, get acquainted with it perfectly. So when it comes, I know how to place it. And when I see it in the future, I'll know that, okay, this thing came before, and I'll know how to put it right and handle it properly the way it should. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. Yeah, we'll keep building this for the future. We'll keep preparing the next generation for, what they will do, because the white people, most of them, as they've always taught their children to know that Africa is below. But now we start letting our children know that you don't need any sky daddy up there to
That's it.
do nothing for you. You need to, work for what you want, put in the work and get the result.
Yeah.
Because many of us right now are now, into these religious things so deeply that we can't do anything for ourselves.
Yeah.
You can imagine a lady being rushed to the hospital because she was having some issues and she was diagnosed and she needed to be operated on. And the surgery was carried upon out on her and she was fine. And the next thing she could say was she saw angels doing operation on her. They were doing a surgery on her and she woke up fine. And I was like, you see how deluded we can be. You did not give kudos to the doctors that were, running hectare to make sure they put things right. You're giving kudos to angels that did not come to do the surgery in your house while you were lying there almost lifeless. Now the doctors have, put their intelligence together and, their studies and all that, and then you're restored back to full health, and now you're saying it was God. You can imagine. So you see, such people, instead of such people to keep their mind down and focus on what they want to do, they will go on their knees and then pray to God.
Okay. Okay. I've got somebody joining us. Let me add them in. So fantastic. The idea, this is why I'm airing this like this, because, and thank you so much. And we have a historian joining us. So you can see there are two sets of historians, numerology historian and an African historian. My elder, his name is Alex Ajala. He's from Nigeria also. But please, I'm using this opportunity to call on other people. And those of you who are already in the Africazoom54, don't be a stranger. Don't be afraid. Come in. We want to hear from you if you're from Congo, if you're from South Africa, if you're from Kenya, if you're from Liberia, if you're from Sierra Leone, if you are from Djibouti, if you are from Sudan, if you are from Somalia, if you are from Central African Republic, if you are from Gambia, if you are from Mali, we need as many of us to be in this discussion to encourage us, because we need to. You see the picture. Look at the picture behind me, those of you watching me. If you guys see that picture of Africa, you need to have the picture of Africa that has no colonial lines on it. Once you have that in your mind, nobody can stop us from interacting as Africans. That's the object of what we're trying to achieve. We need to make sure that the colonial lines, they already dissolve in our mental state, in our minds. Once that is what is manifested in the spiritual, what is conceived in spiritual manifest in the physical, and that is what we're trying to achieve. We have to change our mindset. For example, let me just quickly, I'll let you speak, sir, then I'll just say one thing quickly. I got hold of a figure recently. 82% of Africa's trade goes directly out of Africa. We only trade among Africans at 18% of our trade is among Africans. A whopping 82% goes directly out of Africa, meaning all of those things that could help in many parts of Africa, we do not get the benefit. And what is even traded is at less value. We are not getting value for money of those resources that leaves Africa. So these are the kind of things we're talking about. So welcome on board, sir. This is our elder, Alex Ajala, and welcome on board. Please do join us. What would you like to say? And thank you for joining this broadcast. Thank you. And this is the second time again. People have seen you from
I've been trying to join you, but my laptop seems to play out, so I'm using my third option.
Okay.
The third phone.
Okay.
But there's something that I want us to disabuse ourselves about.
Yes.
The early days when I was at school, there are certain publications that circulated, not for us, but for the Europeans, but fell into our hands too, saying that Africa has no history. I had to challenge the university in London here about that fact. That Africa had no history. Then why are there people there? Wherever people are, that's their history. All you need to do is to trace back where they are coming from. And the known fact worldwide is that Africa is the cradle of civilization.
Absolutely.
But one thing that I want us as Africans to understand is that there are different ethnic nationalities and nations and kingdoms in Africa.
Absolutely.
The great Zimbabwe, I know that we have to recognize others. You see, what you said earlier when I was unable to join you was that we should look at the blank map of Africa. No, I would not want to share that position.
Okay.
Because as a Yoruba person from West Africa, I would describe myself.
Yes.
I see myself as living in the same land space with other Africans who are either Dolos or
Bantu, Wolof,
and all
Kikuyus,
that. And we shall recognize facts, and there's something I'm trying to bring up, that we should disabuse ourselves of one thing. The 1884-85 conference in Berlin put a map of Africa down. They were cutting and cutting areas of spheres of influence.
Exactly.
They wanted to create trading posts, not nations, which we have converted into nations. And one thing that happened in 1964 at the second session of the OAU
indeed
was that the so-called leaders had a communique saying that we are going to keep the boundaries the Europeans created for us. My question, then I was in the 64, I was just starting secondary school. My question to my friends is that these boundaries, were they created by our forefathers? That question the African has not answered. The boundaries we are living in now, that we call, there's a lot of publications that we as Africans do ignore. But the truths are always put in there. There was this magazine which I subscribed to, Life. I subscribed to Life magazine, it's a series.
Yes.
One of the important statements which I quoted in one of my books is that Africans are living in countries they have no hand in creating and are still struggling to understand how to manage this country.
Absolutely. Absolutely right.
We have a big tax in our hands. We have a big problem. The problem is that, like I said, we do not know who we are yet. And even if we now talk of the so-called Pan-African Conference, one of the major ones that was held in Manchester in 1945,
yes,
I find it very ridiculous. If I was a student then, I would not agree with the communique that came up. And unfortunately, at that conference, all the Africans that came never knew themselves from Africa. It was the European ships and boats and planes that brought them for education in Europe.
Wow.
In France and Britain. And then using the communication channels of the white man, the colonialists, found themselves, let me give an example. So Davis and Awolowo don't know Mombasa or Nairobi, they only hear about it. The Jomo Kenyattas and the Tomboyas do not know Lagos, do not know Accra, but they don't hear about it. You see, these are some of the things that we have to examine so that we would now move towards having really independence for the peoples that populate Africa. Africa is not one country.
No.
And we do not continue to tie ourselves into the equal string of the created countries because At the end of the day, we will find that unlike the other countries in the Asians who now speak their own language,
Yes.
we are still speaking the colonial language.
Yes.
Can we, on the basis of that, have what we call Pan-Africanism?
No.
What language are we going to be speaking? If you look at it generally, we are seeing ourselves as a territory of Europe who happen to have black skins in Africa.
That's a scary thought. When you put it in that way, sir, that's really scary, and it's not something that I would want to entertain at all.
According to the United Nations, you find that our African leaders, I don't know if any one of them speaks the native tongue. Maybe from Ethiopia, I don't know.
I don't think they speak.
Hold on.
Yeah.
The scenario is very interesting.
Yeah.
The European man who represents France to stand up and speak French and the language is translated is dropped into the pool of translated languages and translated to the rest of the members of the United Nations.
Yes.
American will stand up and speak the American version of English.
Yes.
And to be translated. The African will stand up and speak a European language.
Oh.
Says it's from Africa.
Oh.
You see, these are some of the things. You see, if we keep on saying the white man has done this, we have not really understood ourselves first. We said we had independence. And like I always remember the statement from East Africa way back in the early 60s. Uhuru not yet.
Yeah.
Africa is not independent yet.
No.
Until we break up those countries that are trapping the different ethnic nationals into unworkable territories.
Yes.
That's why from the almost 3 months after independence in the Congo, as we speak now, they are still fighting.
They're still fighting.
And there's the United Nations peacekeeping force since that time. One of my friends was one of those who was so-called keeping peace in South Africa. He said now, he's a retired major in the Nigerian army. He finds it so ridiculous because when he went there, he found that there are different peoples in those places. They don't understand each other. The way they could communicate is if any one of them is educated in the Belgian language or the French.
Yeah.
Those who did not get educated.
Wow.
Like in Nigeria, those of us who are able to communicate amongst ourselves are those who understand the English language. So are we now European country in Africa?
In Africa. Yeah. Very important point. Very important point. Thank you very much for that.
That's why finally I will say, I would want to see my leader, from whoever it is,
yes,
Yoruba leader
yes,
or leader, to go to the United Nations and drop his language into the pool of the translated language in the United Nations Communication Center, and he will stand up and speak my language for the people to hear and be translated to the world.
Very good idea.
I'm taking this language now because I want those of us who are still tied into the by the time we move towards understanding who we are, I will drop the English language.
Yes.
Pure and simple.
That's it.
And I will be speaking my language.
Yes.
Because, and anybody, okay, we are talking of trade, which you said. We have an economic community of West Africa. Yet we still close borders and months ourselves. Is that an economic community?
No way. It isn't. That's the thing.
Why the intellectuals still don't understand why it's an illegality for Nigeria to close the border against
anybody, any African country.
And yeah, that's so true.
We go around and we say, oh, Nigeria just open the border. What is the purpose of the economic community?
It's madness.
It does not exist.
Yeah.
See? You see, most of us are so highly educated that we don't look beyond, or we try to cover our ignorance with a broomstick. That's, I'm sorry, this is my position.
It's true.
And I've held this position for over 60 years.
Very, very.
And I'm going to say it to people who want to listen.
Yes.
We have to grow up. And I don't enjoy speaking the English language.
No, same here. Same here. It's a means.
But for other Africans who are listening to me, who come from English protected territories in Africa, or those who come from the French protected territories, that's what we are still.
Yeah.
We are not
That's the
independent.
reality.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate that comment. Let me just quickly add something. I am very, very, very clear, and I hope I'm making this clear now. When I say not to look in terms of seeing Africa as without the lines, that doesn't mean that we are now we're going to now see Africa with a new line. We are. I maintain that our cultural links that we had, they have to be re-established. That is the starting point. But obviously, in terms of when we're having the discussions, I needed to just send a vision a little bit to people that look, to take their minds away from always looking at Africa through those European construct lines, to look at it from a slightly different aspect. So perhaps maybe what I'll be doing is adding that, look, we are looking at the cultural line. So thank you very much for pointing that out, because it is really important. Because when we're building this, we are doing building work here. And the foundation is very important, that when we build that foundation, it is firm and solid and can withstand anything. So all these little things we might think it doesn't mean anything, it means a lot. So thank you very much, sir. And your wisdom, may it continue to sustain us, and we need you for longer with us through this journey. So I'm really grateful, sir. And thanks for
very
your
much.
guidance.
And greetings to every other African who is listening to me, those who are English speaking or French speaking.
Yeah. Come on board.
We are not independent.
Yes, we are not. We are not. Thank you. Let me hear Historian 246. If you want to say something, go ahead. But Street Prof, please say something. Let's hear from you. Go ahead.
Pa Alex, I'm really happy and glad and opportune to listen to you again. The other day I listened to you. I was listening to you through the TikTok platform, because I was not up here then. I was listening to you through the TikTok platform, and I asked you some questions and you gave me answers. Yeah. And right now, what do you think we can do to, change this language? Are we supposed to pick a particular language as Africans, which will be a means for us to communicate with ourselves outside our own, dialect, our own mother tongue, like the French speaking countries, they all have their own mother tongues, just like in Ghana we have the Ashanti and so on, and in Nigeria we have the Igbos, the Yorubas, and so on. So I'm thinking, is it right, or is it that we should pick a particular language that will be easy to learn, an African tongue that we can spread around the globe, so it will be our own language? We start teaching it in schools from kindergarten to the secondary schools, so whenever and wherever we are, we can know that this is our language as Africans, aside from our mother tongue. Just like we have English today, everybody, 80% of Africans know how or understand English very well, and we can communicate with it as Africans outside our local dialect. So, do you think we can choose an African language that we can spread across, so it will be our own language?
That's no. Yes. You know why?
Why?
If we look at Asia, if you look at the map of Asia, you have the Mongols, the Kyrgyzstans, the Russians, those are the east of the Ural Mountains. You have China, you have Thailand, you have Cambodia. I know that they all speak that language. Africa is the second largest continent in the world.
In the world, yeah.
So our problem now is not language.
Okay.
It's freedom.
Yeah, freedom.
Okay.
Okay. And that freedom emanates from the fact that we have to jettison the 1884-85 rush.
Yes.
In creating spheres of influence for Europeans. Not for the Africans.
Not for Africans.
That's
Very
what
true.
But unfortunately, that template was the African map. And people were jumped together into countries that they have nothing in common.
Come on.
Let me give you an example of what I told an old man when I went back to Nigeria. I find it heavy to call that.
Yeah.
But don't mind me, that is my nature. As one old man, he had worked in the northeast and west. He's a retired man and he's a sad man. Then I asked him, if the European did not come to put us together, is it possible that a Bale or Bashorun will be sent by Waoba across the river Niger to the north and tell the people speaking English Yoruba language, would they understand him? Think about it.
It's true.
It's true. We have been messed up. We are the ones who are supposed to take the cloak of the mess out of us.
Yeah.
And we start our civilization. But we are not going to reinvent the wheel.
No.
We are going to use what civilization has dropped for us.
Okay.
Remember Western Nigeria. The civilization, the white man's civilization, dropped for them the ability to develop and manage resources effectively. And that, you find that in Western Nigeria by 1954, when England, after the Second World War, established free health and free education,
yes,
in the midst of the poverty of the people, which if it was in Africa, we say it's impossible. They started it. Western Nigeria also started its own free health and free education in 1954. It was not in any other region.
No.
The East attempted it. It lasted only 9 months. They couldn't manage it properly. That was under Ezekiel. They couldn't manage it properly. But we managed our own resources. Our people campaigned amongst, because I was a little boy, they campaigned around our region, and they were able to convince the people to pay simple tax.
Okay.
To manage these resources. And that made, I will tell you now, proudly, I did not pay a penny throughout my education in Nigeria.
Wow. Street prof, can you believe that?
Look at the suffering.
Yeah.
There are many of our people, my colleagues who did not pay anything to go to school. Who I didn't pay money.
I saw. Sorry, sir, for cutting. I saw a meal ticket. I saw a meal ticket online for around those time he's talking about, a meal ticket for a student.
Wow.
As in, that means these students sometimes they are given food even while enjoying free education.
It's not sometimes, it's part of the education.
Wow.
Part of the education. Now
I lived in a very large room with a mate.
Yeah.
We had, my wardrobe was as big as the modern wardrobes in all those so-called executive houses now.
Yes.
And I had a reading table, a desk, and a bed to myself and my so we did it. And when we lived, I don't know.
And the right of
students are now sleeping with mattresses on the floor. I was wondering, is this the same university?
And somebody wrote on that.
It cannot be afforded. But because
somebody wrote on that ticket.
Yeah.
So I want to tell you what was written on that ticket. It says, the people that enjoyed this are the ones making education miserable for us right now.
I agree with you entirely.
That's
why I used to dread them.
That word has been in my head over and over again.
Can you send me a copy of that? Can you send me a copy of that voucher if you see it?
I don't have it right now. I saw it somewhere, and that was what was written on it.
I've seen it several times. I wish I kept mine.
No.
That was what was written on it. People that enjoy this are the ones making
now making it
education
difficult.
miserable for us.
And the idea
And
is,
him saying that now, it just brought my mind back to it.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
sorry, I was one of those who enjoyed it, but my own colleagues who enjoyed it are in government. I'm not in government.
Yes.
I cannot force them to do what is right.
No.
But I've always told them that it is possible to run free education, free health service in Nigeria, in any African country. There's the money. It's a matter of applying it to where it is needed. That's from Britain after the Second World War was broke. Perhaps you must have seen some newspaper where they said Nigeria went to help Britain with how much, 100 million pounds. But was that that was tokenism? That was tokenism. But they sat down and planned their lives, and that's what most of us are enjoying now. Free health service, free education. And if you pass some age, they even call you. Have you come for your checkup? Are you feeling okay?
Yeah.
If you are sick in Nigeria now, nobody knows whether you exist.
No.
Nobody knows.
These are the things that we should stand up against. Unfortunately, most of our people still go around ringing the bell of political association.
Yeah,
That is killing us. We should not have any political association with each other at all.
No.
We should start all over to re-engineer our civilization as it was before the white man came.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me just see if I can bring in 246 historian, Street Prof. I feel your pain, honestly. I really understand you because I can see the pain and it's in your soul. But this is why we're doing this, and just try and bear with it. 246, go ahead. Let's hear from you. Would you like to add anything to what's been said so far?
Well, I can't follow through after the honorable father has spoken, because he is speaking from the motherland's point of view.
Yes.
Where I am a diaspora, but yet I comprehended when he spoke about speaking one language. Me being diaspora and being under British colonial rule, I only know English. So many times hearing my own country, my own island, when I meet Africans, whether no matter where they're from, who live here, when I am invited into their space, I feel so left out. So let's look at how it feels to be cut off from a tongue that when I hear it, it sounds familiar, but yet it doesn't feel intimate. You understand?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So my soul then has this, I remember a heaviness that I felt in my soul when I went to a wedding here in my island. And everyone, who I can parler français, but that's French.
Wow.
And if I go to Martinique, Guadeloupe, France, Belgium, I can communicate. But I cannot communicate at the soul level.
No, that's true.
So when the honorable professor was speaking, I comprehended what he said there. And while he said that, the picture that you have on the back has no borders.
Yeah.
And that's how you would like us to see ourselves. When he asks who created the Ubuntu, then you would have to ask, why did we keep these divisions that others created for us? Why did we keep the complexions and we divided ourselves among them like that? Why did we think it was profitable to us to remain in these separations? But as we are going forward, and you don't have the number, is it Africa?
Zoom54.
Is it Africa 5-4?
Africazoom54.
Africazoom54.
54, yes.
You didn't choose those numbers, 5 4 9, completion, my brother.
Oh my goodness. You see what I'm saying? You see why I say that I'm definitely going to learn more about
After
that.
that, little case I did, that was first time. It's a question of the first time. But to go to in fact, it's a book. Hold on. If you go to in fact, GII concept, we have the complexity of numbers which is still being or being learned by the Europeans and the Japanese.
Yeah.
They believe that if they can break the key, they will create the most powerful computer in the world.
IFA, yes, yeah, the IFA 0101.
And if we see, I know about that juggling of numbers. So, 5 plus 4 is 9. I know that. There are so many of the numbers that we play games. But what of the African numbers? Which I just mentioned. So, you see, we open our minds to the fact that we have several powerful kingdoms in Africa. What added to man the starter of the African 54? 54 just means the
States. Well,
created countries in Africa.
Yes.
Created. They are not nations.
No.
But we erroneously call them nations.
Yeah.
Because they contain of different nations. Just like in Zimbabwe, you have the Matabele that are driven by the Boers northwards into the Shuan's land. So they both occupy the same landscape, but they hate each other. So along the line, way back in the early 80s, Matabele, about 20,000 of them was murdered because they were proposed in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
There are a lot of things that we, those of us, like you said, you are a person in diaspora. If you sit down properly, language, your original language is in your gene, only that you're not working it up. Everybody born with this language in his gene. I was a very avid speaker of English language when I was young because we were forced not to speak Arabic.
Yeah.
Now, if I want to start speaking Malay, it just comes naturally. Yoruba. Same thing with the Hausa man who speaks his Hausa naturally. Just like I met the Hausa man in London here, and we were speaking. And then I said, you are from Nigeria, and I'm from Nigeria. You speak Hausa, I speak Yoruba. Do we understand each other? He said, no. Then why are we in the same country? Then he sat back and said, but you use the word to me, gentleman, you are from Nigeria. I said, that's correct. But I'm not Nigerian. Because I'm Nigerian, I'll be speaking a language called Nigerian. Is there any language like that? See, that is why in Europe, just so the Bulgarian Empire broke up because they were composed of different ethnic nationals. And that created the emergence of the Slovaks, the Albanians, the Yugoslavians, the Austrians, and all that. And even Europe, in the last 38 years, 34 new countries emerged, and they are all on the lines of their language, culture, and tradition, and ancestral origin.
Yes.
We have that at our borders in Africa. We need to showcase that beauty of the African
language.
Origin.
Yeah.
This is the great Zimbabwean Empire, the Oyo, or the Ashanti, and even Mali and all of that. We have to bring them to the forefront. We have to be able to march to any conference in the world and speak our language that comes out of Africa. Not because an African language per se that we have to start to learn. Every child is born with language.
True.
Then you want to start to teach him. It's good to learn other people's language.
Yeah.
But we cannot abandon the origin.
No, we can't.
Just like Europe does not abandon its origin. And the Asian countries do not abandon their origin. They speak their languages, But the Africans in the United Nations speak Yoruba language.
I think
we are an extension of Europe.
Yeah, that is something.
That is one key thing that we should address.
Address, in fact, quite quickly.
Honorable Professor, I'm in the process of studying the slave codes of Barbados. And why those slave codes are very important to me is because the British used Barbados as their first British slave colony. Barbados was set up by the British to be a slave colony. They would have used the Irish first, and the Dutch introduced them to the African and to sugarcane. They stripped the island of any forest, snakes, whatever, to grow sugar. By the time the Africans had to actually reproduce, they developed these laws. One of the first things they acknowledged was that the island was not coming to use with the great numbers of people who were not slaves. But the reason why I am going to make those 1661 and enacted in 1668 slave codes my dissertation when I become a doctor of history. It's because, well, that's in a few years. I'm just a BA student at the moment.
I'm very interested in you. Can I interrupt you a little bit? Are you from Barbados?
Yes, I am.
Do you know of a church, the Yoruba church in Barbados?
Which one?
Yoruba church is embossed on the building. It's a white. I was also doing
You mean the Church of Jerusalem?
No, it's a Yoruba church.
It's called Yoruba.
Yes.
It's a
No,
Yoruba.
I don't know. No, I don't. You're to introduce me to this. I don't know of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there. I will look for it again because I saw this way back in the 1990s. I was so much excited about it. Like
do you mean the Spiritual Baptist Church?
No, it's called Yoruba Church. You know what you call embossed. The name is embossed on the church. It's not spiritual, but it has nothing to do with an English this thing. It was purely
No.
Okay. That's interesting.
The only church
Yeah,
that
look
I
for
am
it.
aware, the only church in Barbados that I am fully aware that seeks to maintain its heritage, its African heritage. It's called the Spiritual Baptist, and it was founded by a man named Granville Williams. But I don't know of other churches.
Well,
So
this
you will
one,
educate
the
me on this
embossment,
one.
you know, when it is built and then cement was used to emboss that name Yoruba on that building, and it's painted white. That was what I got curious. And at that time, one of these Obidele, who happens to be a Yoruba name, was running for Barbados.
Okay.
Obadele Thompson, yes.
Yeah.
Obadele
Yes.
Thompson.
That's a
His father
Yoruba
was
person.
African.
Ah,
It's
it's
a
very
Yoruba
African.
person.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm not only African, he's specifically from Yoruba country in
Yes.
West Africa.
Yes.
Yes. Wow, this is very interesting. I mean, I must say we could really go on for a long time on this broadcast, and we've covered a wide range of subjects from trade to our history to our language to the numerology, and this is exactly what this space is designed to do. It's designed to give us space to be able to discuss among ourselves. And every single discussion is a new discovery for each and every one of us in this space. And that is exactly the point. So that we can begin to really understand what our needs are, what our goals are, what we'd like to collectively achieve, what we can use and carry back to within our own communities to actually spread that word about the importance of getting Africa the true freedom. We are all clear on one thing: Africa is not free. And if Africa is not free, the children of Africa around the world will not be free. That includes Caribbeans. That includes in Cuba. That includes Brazil. That includes everywhere, even America. So our role here is really to engage ourselves, allow ourselves to understand the various factions, and we are looking for more people to come. I've got my sister from the Congo. She's probably hasn't been able to come down. I've got a sister from Congo, another guy from Ghana, and they weren't able to join today, but I'm hoping they can join. And the idea is for us to continue to expand this so that we can talk about different things. I want to get to even the level, the nitty gritty of what each and every one of us eats. So that because you will find something interesting about the kind of food that we culturally eat on, on ground. That is, then we are really building something. Because we need to go to that detail, that depth to reach and really communicate. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think we don't have to probably go too far. If anybody wants to add one or two more things, we'll begin to wrap up. But I'm really grateful that for all your contributions here.
If I may add,
yes,
I'm
please.
sorry.
Yes, please. Go ahead, sir.
You mentioned something about freedom. That reminds me, in the 60s when they said the wind of change was blowing over Africa, called the attempt to have independence, 1957, Ghana and all that. And most of the time, people always say that Ghana is the first independent African nation. That is not correct. It's Liberia.
Liberia, yes, that's correct. It is.
Ethiopia was never colonized.
No.
They attempted to. So Liberia is the first. And they messed up their freedom from 1857 when they had independence. That's not interesting. But one interesting was that when Nigeria was about to have its independence in
1960.
In 1960, October 1.
Yes.
A lot of people from the Caribbean, particularly the Americans, were getting ready to pack up that Nigeria is going to send ships to come and take them back home.
Wow.
You see?
Really?
I met some.
Yes, that's how Barbados ended up being independent as well, because Errol Walton Barrow, the father of independence of Barbados, we had ours in November 1966. He was inspired by the independence movement in Africa. He was a World War II veteran, and he flew planes. Guys, so he was outside of Barbados, and he was influenced by the independence movement.
The unfortunate thing is that the independence that was given was not really independence.
No, it wasn't. It was a false. It was a false.
Same here, Professor.
Yeah.
The same here in Barbados.
Yeah.
So
it was not really independence, because that I had always challenged right from my youthful days. Because I refuse to learn our national anthem, which lies.
It's full of lies, yes.
Yeah, which lies to say that we are one. It says, no tribe and tongue may differ, brotherhood with that. How can tribe and tongue differ and then you say you are brothers? How do you understand?
It's a complete mishmash. Complete.
Thank you,
24621 for your contributions.
I grew up to challenge over and over. My friends who are in government, who are in business, always say, Oluwole, you are always talking. I said, one day people will listen and will be free. Yes. Because the freedom of the being is in his knowledge of who he is.
Yes.
But most Africans are still not aware. We think we are either Nigerians, which I refuse to accept, which I told my strapped man from Sokoto who I met. I covered we are all strapped into a territory called Nigeria. And I said, did our forefathers create it? Then he said, he said, no. Yeah. What do we? I said, let us go back to the way we were before the conference was held.
Yeah.
And that way we'll be able to develop from within and within Africa. When I say from within, from the village to the towns within your environment and the other Africans who you should interact with. We said we had independence. Or when I'm analyzing this, we had ECOWAS. Before ECOWAS, the boundary between Nigeria and Benin, or Dahomey as it was just not a stone's throw. You could just stride.
Yes.
And if you have your telephone on your Nigerian border and you want to call the other man you are looking at on the other side, your call will be routed through Lagos to London, and from London to Paris back to Benin before you speak to each other. And you are ringing. Is that independence?
No.
And
that's
surveillance.
Surveillance. Right word. Go ahead.
It's not about surveillance. It's about the poverty of the understanding of the people. What are you surveilling in Africa? Nothing. Because when we did geography and this geography of development, which I happened to, it gives you an idea of, are these people really developing? Look at so much we have. We don't trade amongst each other, like you said.
No.
Whereas we should. Because there are no connectivities, no good roads connecting us.
That's it.
No rail connecting us. And those are the two major things that we should develop.
Exactly.
Apart from the airways, which is maybe be left for those who are rich enough. Is the farmer planting two tubers of yam going to fly with the tuber of yam to go and sell it? So
No way.
So it needs a road to move for maybe about 10 kilometers to sell to the next person who wants it. But there are no roads. As Nigeria is, I'm going to tell you, my sister, the roads are so bad. But don't be fooled by the idea that Nigeria is the fastest growing economy. They are only talking about the returns from oil sales, which go up and down. I've been to Nigeria recently. It took me about 1.5 hours to travel 1 mile.
Oh, goodness. I know that feeling.
City.
Yeah.
It's not because of congestion, but as bad as
you're not
to peace and coming out, going to peace
you're
and
not
coming
you're
out.
not far from the truth, sir.
You're not far. No, okay.
You're not far from the truth at all.
Now, thank you very much for that great contribution, sir. And also 246 historian, thank you so much for chiming in and actually talking about the fact of the influence of the illusion we call independence, blowing that wind also to the Caribbeans, and that actually inspired many to at least get the little we have now. But we really all know that we are not free. So thank you for that.
If I may, I will. If I can finish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The reason why I stress so much on those slave codes, it's because the British had absolute control of Barbados. Oliver Cromwell, he wanted, the vision that he had was absolutely contrary to the vision of the person who originally wanted to see Barbados being a hub of business enterprise. I forgot his name now, but Cromwell shaped this island into the hellhole that it became, to the point where the Irish wrote a book called To Hell or Barbados. It would have been better to go to hell than to be Barbados. Right. Now, the reason why I stress so much on those slave codes, it's because those slave codes were actually used to develop slave codes in the 13 colonies of America. They were used in Haiti, Jamaica, and as far as South Africa. When it comes to segregation. So this little island that's 166 square miles was the capital of how slavery and how to transform a people who came in who were sold as prisoners of war, but who ended up being enslaved in the system of slavery through an act of parliament in 1668. One of the first things they did, when you read those codes, they're pinned on my TikTok page, was to take away our music.
Wow.
So I am not even looking at this just historically. I'm also looking at this spiritually. The second, when you read the codes, the first thing they did is to change our mode of dress. They said that we must wear livery. And why? Because the African used to walk about in his natural state and he did not see each other in an unnatural way. But the first thing they said was that we must wear livery. The second thing that they did was to take away our music. And the codes actually read that the meeting together of them to go about their mischievous and devious ways is why we have to take away the drum, the wind instrument, and any loud instrument. To me, this is just my thought. As some person who when I was growing up, we have something in Barbados called African dance.
Yes.
So we remember the ancestors by recreating dances. There are schools that would teach you African dance. I belonged to one of them at some point, Dance National Afrique. And when we're learning African dance, we try to reconnect to the ancestors and to our lineage. Now, when they took that away under those slave codes, they took away the generational memory of Africa. That was intentional. Because I'm interested in history and culture, I see all over TikTok, all over social media, every person who in 2024 remembers their ancestral line by doing dances or during their national dresses and so on. But the African within the diaspora, those of us who are not Pan-African or who venerate the ancestors, see this as being demonic because it's been taught in the church that the first
demonic.
when I used to go to church, the first thing they taught me is how every symbol out of Africa is demonic. Every mask, every symbol, every marking, all of this is demonic. All of that is perpetuated into us within here in the diaspora, truly not comprehending that the calypso, the reggae, the ska, the zouk, the cadence, whatever we have recreated, was us trying to remember our lineage. And therefore, it translates into a rhythm that you in Africa can see being familiar.
Yes.
But yet we are still not connecting because we are not beating the drums anymore.
Was it Barbados where the steel drums were created?
No, it's Trinidad.
Sorry, yes. Okay, yes. Sorry, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
But Barbados created something called banja music.
Okay.
And banja was the music created from those remembering their ancestral lineage. Barbados also has connection to the banjo, but we wouldn't get into that.
No.
Banja then developed into what is known as calypso. So what I am saying, for me, this is just my opinion. One of the first things we must do to signal to Africans, no matter where they are, is to start to beat those drums again.
Yes. Here. Ashe. Ashe.
For if when someone's heartbeat is waning, they take electricity and rub it together, and in a rhythm, they apply that pressure to the chest to start back the heart rate. And they tell you they do it in rhythm. If you did CPR, 1, 2, 3, 4, is that not rhythm?
Yes.
When electricity is applied to the heart, they listen to the rhythm of the heartbeat coming back into life. Without the heartbeat rhythm, there is no life. We were removed within the diaspora. Music was taken away. Then food was taken away because they imported everything and gave us scraps to eat. The dishes that we have recreated have been in memory of our ancestors, and therefore you see it with fufu, kuku.
Yes.
You see it with breadfruit, which they bring from the Polynesian islands. So when the professor was talking about food and everything, the connectivities of all these things are the electricity that our heart needs to start living again as Africans.
Wow. Wow. 246 historian. This is deep. This is amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Just one last thing I want the two forces to also. Most of what you're saying relates to most of the things that happened in the Caribbean. There's something I also came across some years back in Brazil. A record of everywhere every African came from was available in their library.
Wow.
But I met some Brazilian and a professor of African history from Brazil, with particular reference to the Yoruba race, said that when another president came up, said for us to control these people, they did not take away their music in Brazil. In the Caribbean, they knew, particularly like two forces I can remember.
Yes.
Cromwell himself, Oliver Cromwell, who was a pseudo king of England.
Yes, he was.
He had his own agenda to play in the slave trade. Two forces had tried to explain to us. But Brazil was lucky, the blacks in Brazil were lucky that the music was not taken away. But the record of where they came from was burnt. They had a whole history of every ship landing and where they took the slaves from.
Wow.
But it was born during the era, I can't remember the president. I hope try to find out, since you are a researcher into this issues of the Africans in Europe and the Africans in the Americas, and maybe the Africans from the coded ones you just mentioned, and from the West Coast. If I will confess, my great-great-grandmother was a slaver. Sorry. She sold slaves and she had slaves. That is Africa for you. And we lived in the interior. So they will march their slaves to the coast. So one of the biggest diseases was that if the Africans did not sell these people, the white man will not be able to come and bet on our coastline and start taking us. We found a passage for that. And in the Yoruba kingdoms, any very powerful person did not obey the Oba was always put in an underground prison. That when I learned that every of those slavers had what you call Tumbu Ajale.
Yes.
An underground prison. From there, they would take them out and
mark them to the coast.
Sell them. It is a sad story.
Yeah.
It's a sort of a cyclic affair, which is almost turning into what would I call it? A revival of the past, which is necessary, so that our future can be better.
Yeah.
But for you to know what to do, you have to go far back to the past to articulate.
Thank you.
Lady is doing.
Yes.
I commend your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay. Let me just hear from Street Prof. You've been very quiet, and thank you for you taking the role of the youngest in the house as we do in our African culture, and I thank you for that. Please go ahead. Let's add a few things.
I right now you know me too well, AY. You know how much I want to pour my heart. You know how much I want to talk about some certain things. But today I'm not going to do so. I'm not going to ask too much questions. I'm just going to try and digest everything I've heard today. From what 246 started with, I've been pondering about that all this while. And what Pajala said, it's really like bringing my mind back to so many things I need to, you know, read about or understand better. Let me not say read, because if I say read, I might not get what I want. So many things I will understand, because I'm this person that want to think things through and ask questions. Like my mom will always said when I was young, she said, I don't believe anything. And that is me. I barely believe things. I want to know it, so that if I'm asked tomorrow, I can explain what it is. You don't just tell me something and expect me to just accept it out of the blue. No, I'll do my findings. I'll get my, facts right before I'll come to tell you, okay, I accept this. This is okay. This is good, because I don't want to just, run with the wind and then not knowing where it's taking me to. The only time I follow that is when I'm trying to follow my instincts. Yeah, when I know my instincts is telling me just do this thing, just do it. That is the only time I can decide to go with the wind. Okay, anywhere it leads, I'll find out what's out there for me. But when it comes to someone telling me something, I want to, digest and get my facts right. And from what 246 has said, she has really brought me into a new light, a new phase of my personality, of myself, because she's now making me understand that I'm not getting these numbers for no reason. They are coming for a particular purpose that I'm not focusing on. Because this thing comes to me often. It comes to me most times I see it. It just come and I won't do nothing with it. I just let it go. But now she's trying to let me know that there's a connectivity within it, and that brought her into making that diagram. I must tell you the truth, I had to screenshot that diagram.
But
I
I mean,
did
it's
this.
already. If you see the video of the museum in Vatican, it's in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's good that
I screenshotted the one she drew, on the paper,
Yes.
so I can confirm it with the one on the video.
Yes.
I don't know if you're getting me.
No, of
The
course,
first
of course.
numbers, the first numbers she placed, I
Yes.
had to screenshot it as well, because
Yeah.
there was a connection right there,
You
and I
saw
have
something
to
in it.
establish it. I have to establish it. You get it? And Pa has been saying some certain things that I need to think about. And everyone out there that is listening to us, whether young or old, I want you to think about this. We are not doing this for ourselves right now. We are making, or we are paving a way for the next generation to come. We are not doing this to enjoy it. Even if we die in the process, it's not for us. It's to give the next generation an identity that they will carry. Because right now, most of us don't know our identity. We don't really know who we are. Those in diaspora, they are complaining of the same thing.
Wisdom.
And we that is still in our father's land, we that is still in our mother's land, we don't even know ourselves. So the ones in diaspora are finding it hard to, find themselves, and they are trying to connect to us that are in our motherland to get information on how they can get themselves back on their feet. But we in the motherland,
my
most
brother.
of us.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Thank you, my
Most
brother.
of us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Most
You're
of
welcome.
us right here don't even know. Most of us right here don't even know ourselves. So when the ones in diaspora calls out to us and say, okay, how is it? We can't even give them a concrete clue. You get it? So we should do this for the next generation, so that when the ones in diaspora are coming back home to meet us here, we'll have a direction to give them. And then when they get a hold of that direction, they will know, okay, this is who we are. This is what we stand for. Those are my pains. Those are everyone out there, if you're listening, the little effort you can give, add it. It adds up. Don't think it's too small. Don't think you don't have time. That little time, that 5 minutes you need to add it. It adds up, because if we do it together, if I bring 5 minutes and you bring 2 and the other brings 3, the other brings 4, it's all round up to 10. It's all making points. I cannot do it alone. Pajala cannot do it alone. 246 cannot do it alone. Ayo cannot do it alone. So if we bring, ourselves together, we can remove those boundaries in our mind. We can know what to do as Africans. We are not leaving our traditions and our culture behind, but we are seeing ourselves as Africans, respecting our different dialect and different culture. You get it? So we can build Africa for Africa by Africans, because it's all in our hands. Thank you very, very much, Fajala. I really appreciate you. AY, you have always been a father, and I've always appreciated you, joining your live stream and, listening to you talk. It has always been an energy for me. And for 246, this is our first time of meeting. I I must say, I'll disturb you. Don't be angry about that.
No.
But I'll disturb
You
you
have
over
my
and over
number.
again.
Disturb me now. I expect you to call me right after this broadcast. I'm sitting at
Yeah,
my
I
desk.
will.
We'll talk. Please. You're welcome.
Yeah, I
You're
will.
welcome.
I sure will.
You're welcome.
Sure will. Thank
Straight
you
prof.
very much.
Straight prof.
I see you down there.
Yeah.
Because he's historian.
Yeah.
The way I'm not a historian, I'm just somebody is concerned that the contemporary issues that is being impeded by the history of the past. It at first the present. That not allowing us to know the future.
Yeah.
Or guess the future. So that's what
Feel no way, Professor. Baba, I am a history student of the University of the West Indies.
Wow.
Ooh.
I am a history student of the University of the West Indies.
Wow.
I gave myself the name, the 246 historian, before I even got accepted at the university.
Wow.
Because my father, a Rastafarian by the name of Ras Aita Tafari, brought me up on the tenets of Rastafari, number one, but he also raised me with the comprehension of who I am as an African. I am able to trace up to my fifth great grandfather onto the plantation that he was born in here in Barbados.
Wow.
And his name written in the history books, in those plantation books, is actually called Africa. And the reason why he was called Africa is because he came over. He was not born into the system. So my fourth great grandfather started to speak to me and told me to start looking for him. I listened. I went into the archives. I found him. I met someone who turned out to be my cousin and had all of the information of grandfather. So I am following through with what I believe is my destiny and my calling back to the motherland, but it has to start here. So I have purposed my life since then that whatever I am assigned to do, I am going to do. And if we don't comprehend this kind of commitment, we will never comprehend why Marcus Mosiah Garvey wanted to have the Black Star Line. Neither will we comprehend why Patrice Lumumba went to his grave knowing he was deceived by his people, yet his voice continues and theirs don't.
Yeah, Patrice Lumumba you mentioned was met by my friend who's retired and is here.
Oh.
Uh,
Your friend met him.
Yeah, because they were the ones protecting him before Mobutu betrayed him.
Wow.
So CIA is taking credit for what they did not do. That's the fact, because those who were on the ground who knew where to. It was the Belgians and Monsieur Sombe, one of Lumumba's colleagues, that orchestrated his killing. But the problem was that if Lumumba understood the history of Africa, he would have immediately dissolved that country. Because, like I said, Uhuru not yet. There are there's a book I'm reading here now, although written by a white man. He was almost crying in his writing that he does not find it interesting to find that Africans kill themselves with wantonly without any feeling in the Congo.
Yeah.
That if you cross from one boundary to the other, if you don't speak their language, you are dead. That's happening in the 21st century. As we speak now.
Yeah.
It is so bad.
Yeah.
Lumumba, to some extent, if he knew, because he was only free in his province. If he went to other provinces of the Congo, as the so-called, I would call that country because it's bigger than Europe.
Yes.
It's not Nigeria.
No.
He's not welcomed. And you were struggling to keep the boundaries of a country your forefathers did not create. That's my question about the African leadership. If he agreed at that time and did not listen to anybody, like, look, this place is massive, we cannot work it together. Immediately after independence, 246, just a few months, as to now, they are still fighting and they are still doing some stupid peacekeeping.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that on that one, sir. Thank you so much again. I mean, you just released. I mean, today's broadcast. If you are watching this broadcast, to be honest, it is from the ancestors. Everything that you are hearing from this broadcast is not by anybody of us, any one of us here. We didn't plan this. Our ancestors brought this up, and it's for us to learn something from it. However painful it is for us in the process, like Pa Ajala said, and some deep history that brought 246 historian said, and the wisdom of the youngest in the house, Street Prof. The wisdom, because the words you spoke moved me. I was crying inside when you spoke, because you spoke about things, about the what commitment means, and how we should really treat it as a community. And again, it ties into what 246 said. So there is work for us all to do here. That information about the fact that Pa Ajala's friend, who is still in London alive, was part of the people protecting him until Mobutu got his hands on him and we all know what happened. That is part of history that we need to know. And it is not just being said for us as a throwaway comment. It is being said for us to guard against disunity among us as Africans. That is the point, that what's being said there. That's the message I'm getting. That we must make sure that all of us as Africans, we must guard against disunity, even in our own selves, in our own soul. Am I protecting my fellow African? Am I doing that? Because the struggle that we're involved in, we are all targets. I'm sorry to say it. But we don't have to be like that anymore. We know the knowledge. We know the things now. We have the tools to do this. And like 246 said, we can no longer be, it's not a question about feeling sorry for each other anymore. It's about, right, we have the information, we have the know-how, we have the way to do it, and the wisdom of Pa Ajala, still, who's here with us, guiding us, and our ancestors. There is no way we can succeed. But we need one single thing. We need unity. We need unity. And everything that we're doing as a community, our African community, they existed. The kingdoms existed because we had unity in the kingdoms. In the Yoruba kingdom, for example, The Yoruba kingdoms, when they conquered areas, they didn't conquer it and take it over and say, no, we're going to destroy it. They got them to pay fees to the Yoruba kingdom. They became part of the structure. They didn't destroy. This is forward thinking of our culture. So when I'm saying this may be the same thing in your culture, on your own ground, in different areas. But I need you to know that what is being taught to us now in the current Western world and our culture, there are two different things. We need to embrace who we are. We need to know who we are. So please, something said to me, I need to talk about unity, because when Pa Adela spoke about the killing of Patrice Lumumba and the things he spoke about, they're relevant to now. Because as we are trying to meet up and set this up, believe you me, there are people who will try and go those lines. But you need to understand that when the time for something comes, be part of it. It's time for unity. Let's unite and build slowly. I am so grateful for everybody. I'm going to, only for time purposes, we could do this for the next 5 hours, honestly. We could. But I know that Jala has got things to do, and 246, I'm going to be in touch with you later on, 246, and Street Prof as well. And myself, just have a bit of a break. And those of you watching, please, we need to build this. Let's make this a family meeting now. And I will say this now, those of you on TikTok and YouTube, we will not always come on air. When there are discussions, if we have a meeting on the Africazoom54 and we feel that that meeting should be in-house, it will be in-house. We may give you like a fleeting comment about what we discussed, but we won't always meet on air. But we wanted to do this to show you the possibilities of us meeting, what we can learn in our own spaces. This is what this is about. So I hope you found this entertaining and learning. I hope you are moved emotionally, because that's the point. If you are going to commit to fixing Africa, you have to be moved emotionally. You have to be moved. And that's what we're trying to get to. Once you are moved, that's your commitment. You're not playing with it. So I'm going to stay. I want to thank everybody. I think we'll probably bring it to an end. It's about 2 hours now. I thank 246. Let's start with the lady, 246 historian. Wow. Listen, I'm blown away. Thank you so much. I want to thank Street Prof, my brother here.
You're welcome.
I'm so grateful.
You're welcome.
I'm so grateful. And I want to thank Pa Ajala.
You're welcome, sir.
And
You're welcome.
everybody else watching this, and the fellow others who are in the Africa Zoom, please, you need to join next time. And we want more people from other areas. I want the French-speaking side of Africa to join and start talking about your own language, your food, your culture, why you do things in different, all of these things. We need all of that in the mix. We are making a good African stew, and it requires all our African ingredients in it. Let us join hands. Yeah. I thank you all so much. Thank you all. I'll be back later on. And
I'd love to have your number. And
yes, of course, I'll pass it to you.
246.
We are all in it's in the Africa Zoom, sir. But I'll show you.
Okay. We are all in the group.
We're all in the group.
Because
Street Prof, if you can give you can give Baba my number, please, for him.
Yeah. I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll sort it.
Okay.
So thank you all so very much. Just hold on, guys. Just hold fire. I'm going to bring it to an end online. Then I just want us to just hold that fire. So guys, everybody who's been watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Those of you on TikTok, please join us again. We'll talk some more. For now, it's bye for now. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashe.
Ashe.
It's good.